Platform classmates. Learn Power Platform like you would learn from a fellow classmate.
Thanks for joining. And as Priyesh told, it's our last session. So let's move towards learning
Right.
something new. And I will not waste much time. So over to Swami, to you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much. So this
Thanks.
is the URL where I kept the demo script and the steps. This is my GitHub URL and all the sessions, whatever I speak from multiple meetup groups and communities, everything will be here. And specifically the Hyderabad Power Platform is here, and today's session is in this block. Okay. Is my voice audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm a learner, so apologize if I do any mistake. And this is the first tech talk which I'm doing on Power Platform. I was always from the other part of the world. This is the first time I'm doing something on Power Platform. So recently I cleared PL 900. So I thought, let me do something on the Power Platform side. So this is my first experiment. I need to clean up this. So please fasten your seatbelt. We have a lot of things to do. And what we will be doing today is I have a power. I've created a custom connector and used it inside the Power Apps so that based on the speaker ID we specify, we will get the values or the sessions of that particular speaker, and we can go and verify what is that talk. Like this is the session 135 and this is session 240, and this is the sample app which we are going to build from scratch. I'm going to delete it. Nothing will be there. We will recreate it everything from scratch. Okay. So I will go to, we'll start from scratch, guys. Okay. So I just wanted to show you how the things will be. So I'll quickly walk you through. So we'll understand. First, we'll come back. This is just a summary or an introduction, what we are going to do in next 45 minutes, and then we'll come back and take step-by-step approach. Okay. And we will first see this web API. We'll go through one of the documentation to understand what we are doing and why we are doing. And then we will go ahead and validate that. And the third part, what we will be doing is we'll start with this custom connector, and we'll create the custom connector, and we'll test the custom connector, and then we'll create a simple Canvas app and integrate it step by step using this custom connector. And at the end, it will be something like this. Just now we have seen the application. Okay, so that's the thing which we are going to do. So let's start step by step. Okay, so what is web API? It's just we create web API is an application programming interface where we expose endpoints where we can go and get the resource. There are multiple ways we can create the web API in multiple languages also. Like you can use C# or Java, Node.js, Python, Go language, PHP, and lot many things are there where you can go and expose this API. So again, how do you create that? That API is going through the authentication or unauthenticated. So that's a different level where you need to have a security or you don't need a security. It's open for wild. Okay, that depends upon. And again, there are multiple ways we can create this and where we will be using. So a minimum, there should be some data store, any data store, maybe the SQL Server or MongoDB, NoSQL or SQL or semi-structured, any kind of data is there, like a table in Azure storage. which is semi-structured, or you go and read the blobs and give it from the blobs, or semi-structured, unstructured, relational, non-relational, SQL, no SQL, multiple things. Let it be, we call it with a general term called data store. And again, coming back to that middle tier, I'm calling it as an API or middle tier. So this again can be very simple. I can create a solution in C# and have controllers and different folders for the business logic layer and the data access layer and take care of that. Or I can go ahead with moving these folders. Instead of having everything in a single project, I can move it to different projects, so that each will have its own responsibility and clear layering of those solution, the API. Like I have a data access layer, within that I have the DB context, which goes and speaks to the data store, and I have a business logic layer, and I have a core layer which has got an interface and the models, entities, anemic models or entity models, or the domain models, and the data transfer objects, all those which are common, constants and everything which is common, enumerations, and we push it there, so that the core library can be used in all these three layers. And once we expose this API, we use it either in the Blazor, WASM, Angular, React, Vue.js, or simple plain HTML and JavaScript, CSS. We can create a simple application, do a fetch, and populate that onto the screen. We can do any number of things. So that's a 30,000 foot about the web API. Now, what is that web API today? We are going to look at this conference web API, which has been already hosted, and it's a free one. It's already been hosted here. This is the web API, and they're giving the Swagger 2 documentation. Okay, so that's our web API. What we can do is we can use that web API and do few small tests from the Postman. So if you go and hit that web API, you see that the web API is giving the Swagger documentation. And the Postman is a pretty good tool. We all need to make a little bit of knowledge on this one, so that it helps us in multiple ways. So right now this is an unauthenticated one. So we see that it has got lot of APIs here. You have sessions. Okay, you click on sessions and click on send. It gives all the session details. So you can see the href. This is a particular session. If I want to go to that particular session, I just click on that, and it gives me the information of only that session, like the keynote with Dan North, and it gives the details. I can pretty much come back to the sessions and find out what else do I have. I have another session like session 101. If I want to come to the session 101, I can come and get this information. This is async in C#5. So having this is pretty important. Like if I have to go to this one session here, the same thing, whatever this 101, 102, whatever we are doing is the ID. If you see the format, how it is, it will be in that format where it says that the ID is the one which has to be replaced. Okay, we have this sessions. And similarly, if I come back to this one, we saw sessions, one session by ID, and inside that there are different topics. Okay, suppose if I have this session 101. So inside that session 101, we have different topics. We need to understand that what is the contract which the API is exposing. So if you see this, it is exposing an object, and inside that object there is a collection, and that collection is coming inside this items. You can see that it square brackets represents that it's an array or a collection of elements, and each of that object inside that collection is of this format. If you expand it, it says it will give you a href and the data object. Again, the data object itself is an array. So so it is title is agile, and related links. I can again go back to any of these links. So at a high level, this is the one API, and we need to know the at least how to test it if someone is giving us, just to understand, because if I want to use it in my Canvas app or in my custom connector, I definitely need to know that what is this, how can I use it? Okay, so one of the things what we are going to work today is like, let's go back to this one. This is, I have a speaker, and one particular speaker is speaker one, and I need to know all the sessions which this guy has spoken. So if I go here, and here you can see that I can navigate to a speaker and click on that, it gives me a bunch of speakers. So here you can see the speaker one, speaker two, and speaker 5. I can navigate and see that all the speakers, whoever has given some sessions and what all the tech talk they did it, everything is here. So today we will specifically verify about this. If I come in here, the speaker 16, and what all the sessions this guy, what all the sessions this guy did it. So you can see that. So speaker 16. So the ID of the speaker is 16, and sessions represents all the sessions which was done by this guy. You can see that the collection which is coming in the data, that's 1, 2, and at least a minimum 3 sessions we are able to see from this session. So to a decent extent, we understood what is Web API, how can we verify, and at this point of time, when we go to that particular API that has been exposed already in the Azure websites, and it gives the Open API Swagger Def, so we can use that one. Okay, that's our first step towards the creating the custom connector. So now what we will do is we will understand why do we need to use or create our own custom connector. Then there are thousands or hundreds of connectors which has been already there. When I was reading, it told that 200 plus, then 270, now it is 325 plus. Next week it could be 350. We don't know. Every now and then people are adding more and more connectors to this one. Okay, so we have all these connectors are already been provisioned. Few are from the Microsoft, few are from the non-Microsoft. Okay, and we want to communicate. So the main motivation here is when these 325 plus connectors is one of the data source from where we want to get the data is not inside this 325. So that's the only motivation when we have to go and create the custom connector, right? That's the key motivation. So the life cycle of this one. So we have to first build and secure a web API. So securing the web API, again, it is, it depends what kind of information you are exposing. Do you really need the security, or it's just for the information sake? So if you see, there are multiple APIs. If you go and see that stock market API, okay, stock market API. So there are a lot of people, they already expose this stock market API. All you need to do is go and pass, I need the stock market price of some company, then it gives this one. So similarly, weather or different people, they expose it. So if it is like something which is for the public usage, then you don't need security. But if it is something very specific to your company, then or the customers, then you definitely need the security. You need to secure that API. So you can see this, we can create this custom connector. We can use the existing public API, which there is no security, or there could be a public API, but they will ask us to go ahead and create a key or a security. So if you come and see that currency layer is one of the many things are there. I'm just taking one of this example. This currency layer is there. So here also we can specify this source is USD, and inside the source, once we give the source, it gives what is the exchange rate with different countries' currencies. So this is the one which we can use it. So here, but when we want to use this one, we definitely need an API key, access key. Without that access key, you can't give, because I can go and come here and give the access key. Then only this guy will give the source and destination. But without that API key, we can't get this information. Even though this is publicly available, but still they're asking additional level of security to be provisioned. But when we come and see this conference API, there is no security. Okay, so that's the motivation. Why do we need to do? So this is the step. Let me dismantle everything. Leave it. I'm coming in here. Let me go delete these connections, because I just wanted to show you guys first what is that, and then to recreate that. So just give me a moment. Let me go and delete that, because we can create it from scratch. I want to ensure that there are no apps. Now that's coming. How can I? Let me close this. Right now we don't have the speaker apps. My apps, I don't have any of these things. I can go and create the Canvas app. I'll Spark it now. So how do you create the custom connector? If you go by the documentation, the UI is changing every 2 weeks or something like that. They're pushing the features, new features every now and then. Let it be any cloud provider, Azure or AWS or different cloud providers, including Power Apps. Things are changing left, right, and center. So they're pushing it, making our lives easy day by day. So the first thing what we have to do is come to this one custom connector. So when you come to the custom connector, you can see that there are few options. These the custom connectors are showing. If you have an existing custom connectors, those will be shown here. Or you can click on new custom connector. You can create it from blank. You can create it from Azure App Service. You can create it from the Swagger file. Okay. So if you click on this Swagger file, if you have a Swagger file, you can go and select the Swagger file and click on create, and you can come in here. I mean, we will redo everything step by step. Do not worry, folks. I just wanted to show you guys a real quick thing. Look, you can see that it has got the speakers by session, and it has got the parameterized, the ID. If you can see here, speaker session 16. So if I want to get the sessions of speaker 14, it's a parameterized value. And what should be the response? It will recognize the response, and the response is also validated, and we can test it. We don't need this. We will create it from scratch. I just wanted to show you that if you have an Azure App Service or you have an Open API URL, some people will expose the Swagger right from their API. You can use that, or you have a Postman collection or GitHub. So we'll start with this in future months episodes. When we are doing, we'll see rest of the options. So first we will create this blank connector, and I want to go step by step. See, we'll select data, custom connectors, create from blank. So here I'm giving speakers, the name of the connector name, I'm calling it as a speakers, and information, right? And here the connect via on-premise data gateway, we are not doing that. So here it is schema. So this guy is giving the information, like this should be the host name. From the fully qualified domain name, from the FQDN, we can strip this off. So how do you strip it off? It's this one, from till here till. Okay, so this one https:// and the name of that host, that's the host. and the base URL is you can hit coming to that endpoint. Okay, that should be there. And the security here, we can have no authentication, basic, API key, or auth0. So this one API key is the one just now we have seen when we go to the currency layer API. In this example, you can see that you need to have the access key. That's when you get the API key. Or when you're trying to do the sentimental analysis from this one, cognitive services text. And in this scenario also, we need this API key. So okay, remember any API which is exposing, they either asking the basic authentication or a API key, or they're asking you to do a auth0. In that case, you auth2. In that case, you need this. But at this point of time, we are not exposing anything. We can go with no authentication. And coming to this definition, so we need to expose the methods or operations from here. We need to click on the new, and I'm calling speaker ID session. Okay, retrieve the sessions of a particular speaker. Right. So operation is I'm telling get speaker sessions. Right. So at this point of time, I'm leaving visibility because this is our first thing. Then we need to have the request. So I just click on the request and we can go back to the Postman. I will copy this and that's a get operation. I will paste it and coming back to here, I'll remove 16 and I will have this flower brackets and add the ID. Okay, so that is a parameterized value which will come at runtime. So we just import this. So once we import this, this clearly shows that this is the parameter which it is accepting. Okay, now we need to add the response because it needs to understand the structure of this output which is coming from the API so that when it creates this custom connector and you incorporate this in your Canvas app or Flow, wherever you are incorporating this, that needs to give you the structure. Hey, if you use this method from this custom connector, these are the values which I'm going to spit it out. So that's the important thing. So now whatever we are doing, that is not the right way. I will show you. Let's fail and then come back and learn. So now what we will do is I will copy this entire thing and I will put it. This is if you need any specific headers, well, we can add it, but I'm doing a very simple thing. I'm just adding it and click on import. It perfectly says that it is validation is succeeded. And this is the one which it should appear. So when I was trying this custom connector, it wasn't working properly. So that's when I understand that double click on this default, come here and click on import and then put it here. Okay, that's the catch. So you come and import it. It should show all those values or properties which are there. If you come in here, you can see this. That's a collection. Okay, so you have hrefs and you have collections. Inside this collection, you have you can see this inside this collection. You have different items like links, and you have queries, you have template, you have a lot of things are there. It's exposing all these things. So once it shows this, that's sure that you are having the contract properly. Okay, and next thing is code preview. So at this point of time, you can see this, the code has been disabled. We can enable and we can tell that what kind of code it is. Okay, so you can ask, hey Swami, how can I create? I'm basically low code person. I don't know how to do this. No need to worry that we have our brother Postman is there with us. Inside this Postman, there is something known as code. So you can click on this code. This guy will create a lot of things. If you want a HTTP, it gives that HTTP. How can you do that? And you have curl. This guy will give you the curl. And if you are, a little bit of C#, you can do it with the C#. And you have Go, Java, JavaScript, Node.js, lot of things are there. Okay, simple thing. Let's come and see this, the curl version. So I already copied this curl version. If you see that, it's the same thing. That's the one X. I did two versions. One is the curl and one is from the Unix style shell script. One is the Unix style and one is this regular curl style. So we can try both. So it doesn't harm. Let's see that. We'll come back here and let me test that. I will go to a command prompt. I do a clean and paste it over here. So it is making a call. You see that all the values we are getting it. Or I can come and check this. One was a Windows specific and one was shell specific calls. And let me go and paste this. You're getting the data. Okay. So there is no need for us to go and write the code. It is being generated by the Postman tool pretty decently. So we can go and use it. We don't need it to do it, but there is an option. I just wanted to show there. And the next thing is test. Until we create that, we'll not be able to test it. First, let us create the connector. So it's going and creating this custom connector. And let's see that it is saving. It takes 1 or 2, less than a minute for sure. It doesn't take this long. Okay, the custom connector is ready. Okay, so we are here in the test. So if I want to test, I'm giving the value, but it is not enabling the operation. So for that, what we need to do is we just need to create a connection first. I'm asking it to create the connection. So it is adding this connection. Okay, so if you come and see that our custom connector is here, folks, in this left nav. And all the connections which we create, those connections will be here. So we can go and give a quick glance on this one. So apps using this connection, none of the apps we are using it, and none of the flows are using this one. So at least if you come, the details connector name is speakers, its description, the status, owner, created and modified. And when we come to this custom connector, what we can do is here, there's an action to create connection. You can click on that and it will create the connection. We already created it. You can download the Swagger file, the OpenAPI one. You click on this one. And if you want to edit, you click on edit. You'll come back to this one and I can go click on test. You can see this now, the connections are there. At this point of time, I will click on this and get the test the operation. So you can see that all those values are coming. I can see speaker 2 has got a single session. Let's go and test this operation. And you can see that that guy has got a single session. So now we are able to test it. So let me close that. And apart from that, we can view the properties and you can update from an OpenAPI file, the Swagger file. If you click on this, that downloads the Swagger file. Okay, that downloads the Swagger file. So we can modify that and again update it, or with the OpenAPI URL or a Postman collection or this one, or you can delete. We saw the delete one. So that's the first part of the story where we went and created our own custom connector, and also we were able to go and test it. We were able to go and test it where we specify the connection. We have to create it and select the connection, and we have specified the ID and we were able to get it. Now what we will be doing is we'll create a simple Hello World Canvas app, and then we will create the application. Now that becomes an end-to-end. If we just speak about the custom connector, that doesn't take us anywhere. Hey, what do I do with this custom connector? Okay, that doesn't take anywhere. So it makes sense, like you have an API, you created a custom connector, you created hello world of the Canvas app, and you connected all these 3 dots. Now you have an application. Now you know that what was the reason I created a custom connector. It's nothing like that. I woke up on the left side of the bed and I created a custom connector and I closed it. There should be one good purpose why we are creating the custom connector. When the default connectors we have and it's not sufficient, that's when we went ahead and created. So this is only 50% of the story. What is another 50% of the story is how do I consume this? So it's as simple as that. Let's go and see that display speakers, and I just click on create. So it creates, guys, this is the first time I'm doing an event in Canvas app. So apologies for my knowledge, very low knowledge. So multiple ways we can come and select the speakers from here, or I can go to the data and click on add data, and then I will go and search. I will go ahead and search see all the connectors, and I can do multiple ways, and I add the connection to this one. So right now we see that the connections are here. Then I am coming back to this one. Let me move this here and increase the size a little bit and go and change the layout. I just want to display only the title. Okay, and the beautification, I am not that much particular, but let's do at least a minimum beautification. If not high fundo stuff, at least a basic things which we need to have it. I have this, cool. So at least we have this one. Now, how do we connect? The speakers are here. So I am going here and I'm typing speakers. I'm going and typing speakers, and when I speakers, then get speaker sessions of 1. I'm hard coding it. Then I have the collection. Have the collection here. Now I have the collection dot items. I have the collection dot items. Okay, so you can see this session 1, session 2, all those things are coming in. So I just given that as part of the documentation also. Here you can see this collections and items. So at this point of time, we have to retrieve the speakers conference API, and session details has to come. So the next thing what we will do is we'll take a small label. Let me call as a speaker ID, and let me bump it up to 18, the size of that, and let's make bold so that it's a little bit visible for us. And let's go and select that. Font is here. Okay, so now I want a text box. So I don't want always to bring the same guys details. So let me make it 1, and also let me bump up the font size of this guy to 18, and change this guy's color to this. Perfect. So now what we can do is this. I can go and change it to text input 1 dot text. Okay, so that's the value. That's the value we have given. So okay, that's the value we have given. We can test, and I can do 2. So that's giving me the value, and I can give 3, or I can give 16 is the one. It's 16 or 15. What's that? 5. 5 is not there. Again, 1. There are few things. I think somewhere it is going wrong for sure. Where it is going wrong for sure. Let me go there. The custom connector. And I have a custom connectors. Will it not show? It will. What? Actually, speaker. Okay, right. Thanks. Right. So that's here. Let's edit it and test the code. If I give speaker 1 and test the operation, it should give this session 1. Session 1. So that's what it should give. So if I go here, speaker 1. That's definitely, it's not giving that full value. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I should reduce this size to 18. Okay, I'm sorry, it was my mistake. I didn't realize that. Text input 1 dot. Okay, so now that dynamically it goes and brings in, I think I can, okay, let me keep it like that, just to showcase the end-to-end story. So now what we will do is we'll add another gallery. How do I select that gallery? Okay, so let me drag this guy towards right, and I'll reduce this guy's size. And let me change the layout to title and subtitle. Okay, so this is there, and this one should be gallery 1. The data for this should be gallery 1 dot selected dot data. I'm sorry. Selected dot data. Okay, so that is coming in. Just let's spend real quick 2 minutes time, not more, to do the beautification. And there is one small tip. It took some time for me to learn that. So at this point of time, if you come in here and see the output, so this is one of the important reasons why do we need to understand the data structure, whatever is coming from the API. You can see this /n/r and tab. So when you do a /n/r is a new line feed. So that goes here. So if you go and expand this, you're seeing that the content is there. But at this point of time, because what the gallery 1 dot selected dot data. Right. And that one, and we said this. So the only thing what we were struggling is to find out, hey, what is that? Do I need to increase the size? That's not needed. So we have one of the method, this one. We'll take this And this one, when you use that method, plain text, it will come and it will store this one. Okay. And another important thing is we'll use this template fill. A simple thing here. I take this template fill and add this two colors which I already selected, and I kept it here. So at least it does this one, and we'll use this colors. It will not take more than 30 to 40 seconds for us to do this. Let's quickly do that. And that's there. And let me execute this. You can see this when I select. You can see the right side, it's all changing. The title is Introduction to Windows Azure Part 1, and this is Part 2, and these things are coming. Now I can go to speaker 16, it is giving, and speaker 14, not data not there. Okay, speaker 11, the data is there, and speaker 5 not there. I know that. Speaker 4, we have two events. It's a very simple simple thing, but at least this gives us an end-to-end picture, like what is an API. And let's do a quick review or a summary, quick summary. Now, what did we learn in this 30-40 minutes of our discussion? We spoke about at a high level what types of API do we have, one with unauthenticated and authenticated API. There could be a public API or a private API. That depends upon the data you are exposing. And there are multiple ways we do an API. And some people, they follow the clean architecture. Some people, they follow domain-driven design. Some the layered architecture. Someone is like a server Nivarni, a single tablet for headache, heart attack, all paints a single tablet, something like that. They'll add all the files in a single solution, single project, and they'll create it. It depends upon your architect and tech lead and what works best in your project. Okay. And we saw that the data store could be anything. The data store could be SQL, NoSQL, or a structured or semi-structured, whatever you are hitting it. Okay. And we verified the Postman, and this is a pretty important tool which we have to learn, because we saw that it can generate the code, it can give you the data structure, and it tells that how many milliseconds it took to get this content and what is the number of bytes. A lot of other things it exposes. So this will give us a broad idea, like how can we take the fields, how can we show that. Do you want to show this sessions? Okay, we were showing that, okay, the speaker has got n number of sessions that we were showing in the first gallery. And when we select any one of the row, then we were showing what is the title and the other one. And also here slash and slash r. And that's when we see this slash and slash r, okay, it's a new line and carries written feed is there, and also triple tabs. So when you want to remove all those things, you have a lot of string functions. We just use the plain text. It could be any other things which you can use it to a replace or whatever best works in your team. But at least this gives you a fundamental knowledge to understand the data structure. And we went and spoke about the motivation. Why do we need to create a custom connector? And also we saw that the case where you don't have the data store, you're not able to connect to the data store through the existing n number of connectors, like 325. Tomorrow it could be 330. Due to this changes, there could be n number of connectors, and you're not able to connect to the data store. So that's the motivation. So you have an API. We use an existing API, and after that, what did we do is we went and we started creating a custom connector for blank. And as of today, creation of custom connector is under data and under custom connector. Next week, it could be in different menu option, but as of today, whatever is that, we'll learn that. So new connector, and we created from blank, and we have seen that if you have a Swagger file, how can you upload? That's the first thing we saw that, and we dismantled it. We started creating it. And the only catch I was mentioning is on the request, double click it. And when you post that XML, you should see all those pink color fields or the data parts which should be available. So let me quickly take you guys there to the step 3. And here in this step 3, when you double click that, you should be able to see that, because that's the one which is sure shot that these output will be recognized and it will give those objects. Like here, when I did this flower brackets and ID, it was showing this parameter. Okay, we can again go deep into that one, but at least when you're doing the response, please double click on this one. It might work when you click on the response and add it, but for me it was not working. So this is what I did. I double clicked it and I clicked on import and added the output. Then it started recognizing these fields. Okay, that's one tip which I want to give. And testing the connector, at least you test that whatever the changes you did, try with different values, and if you have a security or something, you can try those 1 or 2 options, SQL injections or whatever it is, based on the level of security testing you need to do or level of testing you need to do, negative numbers or alphabetical, whatever is applicable based on your project. And once we did the decent testing, what did we do? We created a Canvas app, blank Canvas app, and then we took a gallery and we added the data from here. We can add it from here and then add to your data, or add the data here and then connect it. So I just selected this gallery and added speakers.get speaker sessions, first speaker collection and items. So that is here, this items. So all the hrefs are getting displayed here. And the next thing, what did we do is just added this. This item is selected, then a separate color or a different color. That's a simple thing. And also we added a text box, and dynamically we are taking this input or passing the input to get speaker sessions from the text box, so that different speakers data we can retrieve it. And the next thing, what did we do is we selected this and we told that gallery 1 selected .data, so that it's populating. And one more catch was due to this carriage return and new line feed, it was not able to display the content. So we used a simple plain text function to get the data. So it removed all those /n's and /t's. Okay, we were able to get the data and saw that. Yeah, back to you.
Yeah, hi Swami.
Hey.
Yeah, thank you for the great session. Actually, we understand, and thanks for the sharing of the GitHub link, so that anybody want, they can go and access from there as well.
Yep.
So thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Thanks, Swami, for taking this session.
But it is worth the wait, because it was a really tough match there.
One more thing, Priyesh, I just want to comment here. If anybody, those who want to power on their camera,
Yes, please. Yes, we would like to see.
Again, we are classmates. That
Yes,
is the.
we are classmates. There are no organizers, really. There are just coordinators. We're just coordinating with each other to do some things up.
Wish to power on their camera. It's
Yes.
They are open to open their camera up.
Yes. Hi Rizwan. Hi Shashi.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. I hope you all guys really had a good day of learning. There's so much I kind of missed, so I'll be looking at some recordings now, because I wanted to pay attention to some of that as well, because that is something I came across and I realized that, oh, this is something I wanted to use, and I so much valuable information was flowing through, which is lovely. Thank you for all the participants. First of all,
stop recording, I think, please, right?
Yeah, we can. Yes, we can.
Yeah, let me stop recording.
Power Platform classmates. Learn Power Platform like you would learn from a fellow classmate.